Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Made for More podcast. Today I am joined by an absolute delight. Hello and welcome, Trudi Boatwright. It is wonderful to have you on the show.
Hi, thanks, Ally. Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. I am so excited for you to share some of your thinking, some of your insights, and your expertise with our audience today. We were just chatting before I hit record, and I mentioned I did a session with you in March 2025 and absolutely loved it and thought, yes, we need to get Trudi on so that she can share some of that with our listeners. So I'm so
Yes.
glad to be talking with you today. On that note, can you share a little bit about where have you come from and where are you going?
I love this question. Where have I come from and where am I going? There are so many options. Let me tell you a little bit about where I have come from. I am Sydney based originally, and my background is actually in performing arts.
Hmm.
So I've lived across the world in Sydney and London and Canada and now Melbourne. And a lot of my background was around developing my theatre making and my acting career.
Hmm.
Alongside my theatre and acting career, I also had to have what I like to call a B role. Most actors will have a B role, which is another career to subsidize their acting evolution.
Hmm.
And that was around HR, recruitment, sales, learning and development. And then along the way, I came across experiential learning.
Hmm.
Around about 2001, I started my first sort of role playing work and my first experiential learning. And I developed a real passion and a real love for it. And I continued doing that for years and years and years as I developed my theatre making. And then I had a learning and development organisation, a small business pre-COVID that sort of during COVID I stepped away from because we were very much role play training, we were face-to-face training. And of course, we all know 2020 didn't work for anybody.
Hmm.
Um, and so from there, I was reassessing who am I? What do I do? What do I love? What am I about? What do I think the world needs? I really icky guide myself during that
Nice.
time.
Yeah.
Uh, and what came up was I was exhausted. We were all exhausted. The world was exhausted.
Yeah.
And somebody said to me one day, "Oh, and Trudy, what do you do?" And I was so tired. I didn't have any energy to do anything other than be brutally honest. And I said to them, "Do you know what? I teach adults how to play." And they went, "Oh, that's cool." And I suddenly thought, oh my gosh, I have spent so many years trying to dress up the word play in other areas,
Mm.
but actually it's what I do. So then that projected me on this journey into bringing play and organizational, serious play into organizations to improve a range of metrics.
I love this. I love it so much. And there's a few synergies that I don't know if we've talked about before. I've also got a performing arts background. I used to be a professional ballet dancer.
Ah,
And you had a real B-roll job. My B-roll job was bartending at various locations with various questionable clientele. But I love when you're talking about, how do we simplify it and really teaching adults to play. I think I've got young children and I think we're very good at kind of role playing with them and playing make believe. And then more recently, and this is probably in personal conversations I've been having with friends this year, it's like, what do you do for fun? And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, because that's such a gift, is everyone is going, I don't really know, like fun. No, no, why would I? What do you mean? What do I do for fun? I go to the gym, I go to the beach, like, yeah, but is that fun? Talk me through a little bit more around when you're saying I teach adults how to play. Why was
mm.
that? What was it, that light bulb moment, apart from understanding how to articulate it, but what was it that drew you to the play part when it came to adults and, in work?
Mm. Well, I was blessed and honored enough to spend 5 years as a Starlight Captain at the Royal Children's Hospital.
Cool.
And it was very cool. It's still to this day one of the best jobs I've ever done. And that really sparked my awareness of the power of play. For those
Mm,
who don't know, Starlight Children's Foundation is a charity where I sort of said it was like a clown doctor, but different.
mhm.
So we would go in, we were superheroes, we came from another planet, and we would entertain children within the hospital, children and their families within the hospital system. And it was during that time that I realized that there is a lot more to it. particularly with the parents. I became really fascinated with giving
Mm.
the parents that playful break within their hospital journey.
Yeah.
And I started to really unpick and unpack the power of what it is that makes it so effective.
Mhm.
And it really is the basis of what we do and who we are and how we learn as human beings. If you think about how we learn everything in the world, it's through this trial and error. It's through this
Mm.
playful adaptation. And
Mhm.
then we sort of hit this, as you say, this sort of age range of 27, they say. Research
Frontal
says,
cortex. Yeah. Mm.
yeah. And everything lowers down and we forget that we have this ability to play.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, all of the research, all of the science is now saying for a longer life, for a healthier life, for a more relaxed life, for a
Mm.
more productive life,
Mhm.
you need to have this sense of play and wonder and curiosity and all of the elements that go within that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like in an organizational sense, leadership traditionally has been very removed from a playful environment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
think we've tried not to be playful because we're working, we're very serious and we do work and we do leadership and we're in that serious stuff. But I feel like we're hopefully evolving as a species a little more now to understand that leadership doesn't have to be about stiff upper lips. It's very
Yeah. Yeah.
masculine.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're evolving now. If you look at some of even like Justin Trudeau and Jacinta Ardern, you look at the way even country leaders are now coming at it with a new perspective.
I 100% agree. And I do think it's like what we're seeing as a trend, also what we need as a
Yes.
species, as human beings to go, actually, like the stiff upper lip is no longer effective. I think we're seeing that in generations that are coming into the workforce. They're like, yeah, yeah, no, thank you. I'll vote with my feet on the way out. And I think, if we're looking at it across generations, where we're going millennials that are looking after sometimes aging parents as well as young families, they're also going, I don't actually have time for the drive. I don't have the time or the energy or the need for that. So what can we do to, bring more lightness into something that is very and has been very heavy space when it comes to leadership? When you were talking about the being a starlight captain and obviously designed for the children to entertain children in hospital and then recognizing the parents, what kind of things or what kind of shifts were you noticing with those parents throughout your time that you got to spend with them?
One thing I really noticed was a few things. Firstly, the ability to engage them
Mm,
with the hospital system, with their children, with the moment that they were in, helping them be present because there's a
mm,
lot going on for if anyone's ever had an experience as being a parent in a hospital system. So that was the one thing, engagement.
yeah.
Just release, like pressure release, just to have a
Mm,
moment in the day where they can laugh and enjoy and do what they were doing with their child, which was living in this playful existence.
mm,
So it was a whole combination of things that would happen, as well as that it would help rise the energy in parents. They're exhausted.
mm,
So if you get, if we got a cracking round of some kind of song or something where we were all involved in it, it would lift the energy of the parents as well.
yeah.
And just that 5 minutes of magic would fix them for the rest of the day.
Yeah. I agree. I'm just thinking earlier around when you were talking about giggling, I heard my children, they were all giggling, but it was starting to sound like it was getting a bit rough. And I'm like, oh, someone's going to hurt themselves soon. And I went in there and my eldest was like throwing them over the shoulder and was like dropping the little ones into a beanbag. And it was wildly hilarious. And I was like, right, I'll do you. And he must be 45 kilos. So I'm like, hoiked him on my shoulder. And for whatever reason, we couldn't get it happening. And I was cacking myself and he was cacking himself. And then my youngest came up to me and he goes, oh, mummy, I haven't heard you laugh like that in such a long time. And I was like, oh no, like my children
Yeah.
haven't seen me experiencing like unfiltered joy. It was very funny and very silly. And you're right, it carried me for the rest of the day. It was so good to have a huge belly laugh and be really silly. Earlier, you were talking about how you early in your career and you really got into experiential learning and you
Mm.
briefly mentioned role playing and how we learn. Now, I'm not sure about you, but for me, while we do experiential learning, or I call it somatic experiences, the word role play has kind of puts people into, fight, flight, or freeze. What are
Mm.
you starting to notice when we're going, well, role play is such a great way to learn. However, we need to rebrand it because no one's like
Yeah.
workshop, no role plays. What are you noticing around, I guess, what am I trying to say? I guess the appetite for that experiential learning. How are you getting around it? Do people know what they're coming in for when they are there to do a play workshop?
Yeah. I think, firstly, I think experiential learning play is, it was once described to me as like a Trojan horse, right? So you
Ah,
will go in with the word play, but actually there's so much more that you're giving.
yeah,
And the magic behind play is this experiential learning cycle.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and when it's used effectively, your retention rate is so high. It mimics the way our brains learn. It
Mm,
is the most effective way of learning something.
hmm.
Um, and I think play is this lovely, easy tool that helps people bring their full selves
Yeah.
into something because play has a non-threatening tone to it.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that's the first thing. It has a non-threatening tone to it because they think it's just silly and superfluous and light. But
Hmm.
actually, the magic is that there is so much more underneath. That's
Mm,
on
hmm.
one side.
Hmm.
As we know, often the world can have two truths at once. On the flip side, you say, oh, we're going to have a workshop on play, or oh, we're going to do some role play, and people shut
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Naturally, where it's so far removed, it makes so many people uncomfortable. The other thing is we all do it differently, right?
Yeah.
So immediately, and I think one of the things about it is it has a lot of bad press in the sense that people will walk into a room and be like, "Okay, guys, we're being playful," and they'll dive straight in, and everybody will shut down, and then people question why it didn't work.
Yes.
I think the goal is to really be start slowly. I call it boiling the frog.
Yep.
Really have to boil the frog. We're so far removed from our playful selves now that in when you are engaging somebody in play or groups in play or role play, you really need to do it slowly, slowly, slowly and make sure that people feel safe. Because the minute they don't feel safe, they can't play.
Mm, hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just a neurological fact. The minute we don't feel safe, we can't play. And then we're faking it, and then that doesn't yield the results. So it really is about approach. It's the way we approach. I talk a lot about awareness in my work. It
Mm,
is, I have a model to help people understand how they bring play into their workplaces. And the first step is awareness. And that's
mm,
the real key, really helping people understand where they are, what they love, and what that can do, and then slowly dialing that up into a
mm.
playful environment. I talk a lot about the difference between play and playful because I feel
Yeah.
like they are different.
All right. Can you tell me what the differences are between play and playful?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Oh, great question. I'm so glad you asked. So the difference is really play is it's that activity. It's that beautiful, frivolous thing that children do where they're doing
Mm,
something because they are.
yeah.
And that can be, I call that's play for distraction, right? So often you'll find if a team's really stressed or if there's a really big decision that needs to be made, if you would get your team to put everything down, tools down, go and have a play break and come back to it, you will make complex decisions quicker and more effectively because it
Wow.
gives your subconscious time to process.
Mm,
So that's using playing for your benefit.
hmm.
Playful is a mindset and a way you approach things.
Yep.
So that is about looking at how you are running your organizational processes and how you can do it differently to up the engagement and the productivity of your team.
Hmm.
So they're two very different approaches.
I love that definition, and that probably leads me into the question I was going to ask you earlier around play and like when we boil the frog, create spaces for people to actually play, and then they ease into it.
Yeah.
Is play a learned behavior? Or is it kind of you have to facilitate playfulness? Do people need a tune up now and then, or is it really that mindset shift and then they become more playful throughout their day-to-day activities?
I think it's naturally it's hardwired in us. We all know how to play, right? This is the other
Oh, right.
thing. Yeah,
Okay.
so we're only born. There's a gentleman called Yak Pangsep, and we're only actually born with seven sort of emotional systems. So play is We're born to do it. It's hardwired in us. It's for an evolutionary purpose. So we all know how to do it. There's very few things in the world that we all know how to experience, but play is one, which helps if you've got intergenerations, which helps if you've got English as a second language, or you've got a second language barrier. It is a real cultural connector. So that's the first thing. So we're all born with it. And then from there, it is really around practicing and refining and reconnecting. We all know how to do it. We just need to reconnect to how that is, and how that evolves.
That's amazing. I had no idea that that was one of the things that we kind of kept with us.
Yes,
And
yes.
we suppress it because we're too busy being serious, or we're too busy, or a
We
combination of all of those things.
It's a combination of all those things. We feel it's they're very interesting studies at the moment talking about the combination of stress and play.
Yeah, tell me more
So
about that.
so they're saying that when we're stressed, the same parts of our brain light up as when we play. The only difference is we don't give off cortisol. So they're,
Ah,
they're saying that actually the opposite to play is not work, it's depression. But what's happening is we're so busy that we're
mm-hmm.
not playing. And because we're not playing, we're becoming more stressed. And because we're becoming more stressed, we're not playing, and et cetera, et cetera, et
Cycle.
cetera.
Yeah. What did you
Yeah.
just say? The opposite of play is depression.
Yeah.
Wow. That cuts deep. So tell me a little bit around when we're talking about stress and the difference between cortisol. Burnout is hugely prevalent. I think, even 2025, if we had to label what was making the headline, it was all around burnout becoming more mainstream. I think every other person I speak to is, burnt out, particularly at this time of year when we're recording.
Yes.
How do we think that play is also linked to burnout, or the lack of play linked to burnout, or is potentially play the antidote and cure for burnout?
I believe play is definitely the cure for burnout.
Oh,
So at the
amazing.
moment, we are in this burnout epidemic
Mm,
where we are struggling as humans. We are in a place where, I mean, there's something like 70% of us in our workplace are burnt out and
yeah, it's a
disengaged.
lot. It's a significant number. Yes.
It's a significant number. And the theory is that because we're not giving ourselves the space
Mm,
to stop and breathe, we're not giving ourselves the space to play, we're not giving our brains that moment and that break, and we're stuck in this sort of habit and attention loop
yeah.
that goes on. And if you look at some of the benefits, the neurological, I mean, obviously there's a classic neurological benefit of play. It gives you that what they call dose, right? Which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. All
Yeah.
bang. You involve in play, done. You get that. But then there's also the other things that it helps us be present. It
Yeah.
helps us stop. It helps us listen to others. It helps us connect, right? I think that's the other thing as humans, we really need to focus in on connecting with each other at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in this sort of state of flux. It feels like we're all sort of running around in this sort of
Clueless.
headless whirl.
Yeah. Yes. I agree with
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
But when to play with someone, we have to be present.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually got, do you want to play? Do you want to have a quick play?
Oh, I'm a bit nervous. Okay.
Okay, it's really easy. Once again,
Okay.
this is
All
a
right.
prime example. I'm gonna give you four quick questions, Ali, and I just want you to answer them as quickly as possible. You ready?
Okay. I'm very nervous about this. Yes. I hate
It's
when
really
people
easy.
ask me
Is it
questions on the
four?
other side of the podcast.
Actually, it's five. It's five questions.
Five. Okay.
Yeah, you got this. You got
Okay. I
this.
got this. I got this. I can do hard things.
Really easy.
Mm.
Really easy. Phone call or text message?
Phone call.
Okay. Beach holiday or trekking safari?
Beach.
Right. One scoop of your favorite ice cream or two scoops of a mystery flavor?
Ooh, mystery. A mystery
Mystery.
flavor.
Okay. Shakespeare. Would you rather be Shakespeare or Lady Gaga? Who would you rather be?
Oh, Shakespeare.
Ooh, okay. And if I could ask you right now to place your hand on a part of your body, any part of your body that is really important to you, could you do that now? Instantly. Go.
On my head. I've put it on my forehead. For anyone
Okay.
who's listening, yeah.
Okay. Great.
Right.
All right.
What did we just do?
I asked you five simple questions. But
Right.
what I can tell you is communication is obviously really important to you.
Yes, it
You'll
definitely is.
you'll choose a phone call over a text message. You probably need to relax. You want to go and sit on a beach. You're not after adventure. You've got enough of that in your life. But you're really curious because you're going to choose two scoops of ice cream over your normal
Oh,
regular,
yes.
right? You're a thinker. You probably think about the future. You probably think a lot. And that's double. That's one because you'd rather be Shakespeare, so you'd rather really become that longevity,
Yeah.
yep. And secondly, because you immediately put your hand on your head.
Wow, this is amazing. It is magic.
Right?
It is magic. That was fun.
Yeah. So we could spend 20 minutes, with me saying, so Ali, what would you consider? Or I can get that out of the way. We can play. You can have a good time and I can understand you better.
That's amazing. I love that. And yes, I do love communication. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I do spend a lot of time at the beach because it's where I'd rather be. So
Well, there you go.
incredible. So when we're talking about practical tips and how, our listeners are listening to this and going, yeah, you know what, maybe my play's been dialed off or
Yeah.
dialed down for a wee while. What are some of, I guess, those baby steps, the boiling the frog that they could potentially do to reintroduce probably play for themselves to start with, and then go, oh, maybe I could socialize this a little bit in the workplace as well.
Yeah. I think one of the things is we as humans, we are so burnt out that what we
Mm,
do is we resort to safety, we resort to habit, we resort to just doing what we have to do because we have to do it.
hmm hmm
Think about how many things that you just automatically do during your day because that's how it's done.
hmm hmm
So I think to reconnect with your own sense of play is to stop and create an awareness about why you do what you do and how you could do it possibly a little bit differently,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I'd say three simple questions. Ask yourself why
Mm,
not,
hmm
and what if?
Oh, okay, cool. And like,
Really simple.
what if it goes wrong, or what if it went really right?
What if I did this? What if,
Hmm
what if, you know,
Yeah.
I don't break the boundaries, just push them a little. See where they bend.
Yeah. I
What
love
if,
that. I love
right?
that.
So um, for instance, okay, here's a great personal example. It's not organizational, but it's personal. I have a dog. He's very clever and he gets very bored during the day.
Right.
So I give him 10-minute bits of training, but then I get bored because saying to him, sit, shake, weave is quite boring.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what can I do that is exciting for him and exciting for me?
Right.
So I'm teaching him a dance.
Yes, I love this. Please put it on YouTube.
We're not quite there yet, but we're so that way it's a little tiny tweak. He's still getting his training. I'm getting my amusement. It was
That's
just a
so
question of what if I taught him a dance?
I
And so now
love it.
we're doing it.
I love it. Oh, you have to send me the video of it once you're
Okay.
once your performance ready. You have to send me the
Don't
video.
hold your breath.
His,
That's all
his
I'm saying.
theatrical debut. Oh, that's so good.
So if you take that approach into your organization, so
Mhm.
what is my team struggling with?
Yeah.
Guarantee you it's probably things like interpersonal skills, communication. I've
hmm
been in over 100 organizations, people who've been, we all know it's usually the
Yep.
people skills that people are struggling
Mhm.
with. What can I do? Why is the behavior like this?
Yeah.
Why not try something like this, that, or this? And what if I approached it like this? Just those three
Mm,
simple questions.
love it. Love it. What do you do for fun outside of training your dog to dance?
I love adventure.
Yes,
I'm
right.
a I love doing things. I'm an experiencce junkie. I love to try things I've never done before.
hmm
And so mine is a constant reinvention of, oh, why don't I try that? What if I did that? I like to explore. So
Yeah.
that's
So
my
you
sense
would
of,
have chosen safari.
I probably would have chosen safari. Yeah.
Ah, there we go. Amazing. So I like that. I think of what you just said there, and it was around not breaking the boundaries, just gently pushing against them and going what works and what doesn't, and how do we just do something a little bit differently to potentially introduce some more play and different ways of thinking to reconnect. Yeah.
And the smallest amounts, I think as a leader, if you do these small things, you will see a marked difference in the
Mhm.
connection that you have
Yeah.
with your
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. And I think that's really, we're recording this at the end of 2025. It'll go live in 2026. But really what 2026 is around connection, reconnection to the people that we spend, unfortunately, well, fortunately or unfortunately, the most amount of time with, when we're talking about we're working 40 hours a week. How do we connect with those people that are around us to really, yeah, for the human connection?
Exactly.
Amazing. Where do you mostly hang out, Trudy? I'm sure there are people going, actually, I do need a little bit more play and playfulness in my life. Where's your platform of choice? Where do you go?
Where do I go? So I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. Trudi Boatwright, my name. And also I've got a newsletter relaunching and some events that are happening in 2026.
Oh, fantastic
Yes.
in-person live events for some experiential learning.
Yes, I think we're
Love it.
gonna, it's 2026 is a year of being a little bit audacious. So
I
watch this
love that.
space,
Do it.
join up on my website. You can link up to the newsletter,
All
which is
right.
www.trudyboatwright.com and join
Perfect.
me.
All right. We'll add all of those links in the show notes. Now, before we say goodbye, I ask all of my guests their top tips for leaders. So, whether this is something you've learned in the past, something you've learned recently that you would like to impart, what are your top 5 tips
For leaders.
for leaders? It can be obviously in your area of expertise.
Okay. Firstly, I would say spend time on awareness, spend time becoming
Mm.
aware of
Hmm.
where you are, where your team is, and how
Hmm.
playful and engaged they are.
Hmm.
Secondly, add your bits of play. It doesn't have to be much, can be really, really tiny. Just look at your habits and change them really slowly.
Hmm.
Ask yourself those 3 questions: why not, what if?
Hmm.
Look at engaging the body. That's the other thing we
Ah,
haven't discussed about today, but
yeah.
we all know that 70 to 90% of our communication is nonverbal. Why isn't 70 to 90% of our learning? It's my statement.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And then a lot of play is very physical.
Yeah.
So that would be 4. And I've got a 5th one. Ooh. And I think have some courage
Oh, I like it.
to do things differently. Takes a little bit of courage, but it's worth it.
Love it. Amazing. Thank you so much, Trudy, for joining me today. This has been an incredible talk about play and playfulness. And if you are looking to connect with Trudy, please follow the show notes to go and check all those links out for our upcoming events, as well as join the newsletter and connect with Trudy on LinkedIn. Do you have any final words, parting
Just
wisdom?
thank you for having me. And I will even send you the YouTube link of the dog dance when it's ready
Yes,
to go. Yep.
please do that. We'll update everything. That'll be amazing. All right. Bye for
Thanks,
now.
Ali.